Good day everyone, my name is Dominic,
And I'm Jimmy.
and if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not, thank you so much for supporting us all this while. In today's video, we'll be commenting on the problem with printing too much money and whether the US government can continue at its current state of financing. We will also be drawing some associations to countries who have tried to save their currency in the past by continuously printing money, and we are going to show why it is an absolutely bad idea. Wait, before that, disclaimer. None of the content produced in this video should be used as a substitute for professional investment advice, nor does it constitute an offer or solicitation for investment-related products. It will also not induce the creation of any binding legal relations. Okay, for real now. If you're interested in our analysis on all the earning reports that have come out in the past few weeks, please stay tuned to the end of the video for the reward.
The first thing you need to understand is that money has no intrinsic value. It is actually a piece of paper that some people in the past designate it as our main currency. This would mean that if you fly to some alien planet and give them your money, they will just rip it into shreds.
This is actually due to something called the Tinkerbell effect, something I learned from Wonderwise YouTube channel. It is basically an effect which talks about how something exists because you believe or imagine that it exists, rather than there being an actual manifestation. In the past, paper money was not always the go-to currency. People used to hide their wealth in form of storing gold and silver. For example, in 1944, governments around the world sat down at a table and decided that they would create something known as the Bretton Woods system.
Oh, I heard about it before. It's a system based on the value of gold. This resulted in many countries adopting their national currencies to the official standard pushed forward by the US. But eventually, the system collapsed due to the rise in inflation that began in 1965. This was problematic as the Bretton Woods system was based on rules. And the most important rule was to follow the monetary and fiscal policies that were official and that were established when the official pact was created. And the US violated this rule right after 1965 just to alleviate their domestic inflation. Thus, we see how the government under Richard Nixon decided to abandon convertibility to gold and their whole system collapsed. Nowadays, however, people use something called fiat money. And the use of fiat money is premised on the belief that the government will prop up the value of money in the event that it devalues too much.
The most obvious problem with printing money is insane inflation, which returns you to the original problem of not having enough money on hand in the first place. For example, if you return to demand-supply graph earlier, assuming Apple did not have any spare capacity to increase their supply output, and there is now a large increase in the demand, if earlier you had $1,000 in your pocket, you could have bought an iPad. You can't even afford half an iPad if inflation went up by 200 to 300%. The effect of inflation is also more pronounced on financial markets than on consumers in the first place. To get richer, a country usually makes and sells more things, be it goods or services, and in process increasing its GDP. This makes it safe to print more money to allow the general population to afford the newly produced goods. However, the problem comes in countries that increase the money supply arbitrarily without having the capacity nor will to produce more goods per capita.
Throughout history, there have been numerous occasions where governments have tried to manipulate their own currency to achieve their financial or macroeconomic goals. The most notorious of which is Venezuela, where a pack of eggs can cost over a few $100.
A few $100?
Yes, you heard that right. The country is going through both a food and public service crisis. Most of the population is suffering from man-made starvation, and as a consequence, widespread social problems such as crime and electricity blackouts. What Venezuela is going through is known as hyperinflation, and that means a rate of inflation so high that it basically outstrips the rate at which the price of goods and services are supposed to be worth by a mile. While most economists can't exactly agree on what the level of hyperinflation is, monthly inflation rate is greater than 100% would be a good gauge to see where it is. According to a BBC report in 2018, prices are doubling every day in Venezuela and have reached a record high of 28,000%. But you see, the bigger problem comes when the supply of paper money outstrips the demand for essential goods and services. This all arose as a problem when the government under Hugo Chavez decided to embark on one of the boldest yet craziest money printing endeavors ever. He initiated something called the Bolivarian missions. Initially, they were supposed to improve the living conditions for the poor, But what exactly happened was it made the currency so worthless to the point where people were using paper money to make other paper-based goods because that was the only decent source of income. Another fundamental problem is how Venezuela's economy is centered around a singular commodity, and that is oil. With everything dependent on oil, when big oil giants such as Saudi Arabia, Russia, or even oil companies such as ExxonMobil decide to drastically increase their supply of oil to the oil market, this will cause the price of oil to fall and the Venezuelan economy will feel the brunt of it.
Wow, okay. Fast forward to the modern day, where the Fed is throwing in a lot of helicopter money, such as in the form of small business loans or the 1.2k stimulus checks. The biggest problem here is that these money outflows are only a small portion of the whole care package. The lion's share of the package is going into allowing the Feds to buy junk bonds. This is not going to allow the consumers, which could then spend more on consumer goods and services and potentially prop up the economy.
Basically, in the long run, money printing just construes a form of hidden tax. In the short term, you may look like you have to pay less tax, but in the long run, it will eat away at your money value. All the savings that you have saved up to now in your retirement accounts, such as the 401k for Americans, may have lost close to 50% of purchasing power when you grow old.
If you're still here after all of that, thank you so much for staying. As a reward, we'll be talking about analysis on the earnings report season that has been plastered all over news these past 2 weeks. If you haven't smashed that like button below, please remember to do so. It helps out so much in spreading out video to those needing this knowledge.
With all the reports out from tech heavyweights Amazon, symbol AMZN, Apple, AAPL, Alphabet, as well as Facebook and Microsoft, many were actually preparing for a brutal tech earnings season in general.
Our stand on this matter is that earnings mean nothing this quarter and maybe next. The full year might see the exact opposite happen, where despite good earnings, companies may be deep in red territory. As a testament to this, we are starting to see more and more bearish engulfing candles with each passing week on the S&P as well as the Nasdaq 100.
Things that matter, however, include expectations regarding when the quarantine ends, perceptions regarding how fast commerce can ramp back up, and how easy federal money remains in the economy. Pharmaceutical companies like Inovio, Moderna, and even giants such as J&J and Merck are rushing to create stable vaccines or antiviral drugs, so the pharmaceutical sector is definitely one to watch in the upcoming weeks.
If you haven't managed to catch our video we made on Gillette, be sure to check out this link here. We gave a very strong analysis on why the company's outlook is expected to be bullish in the upcoming weeks. Drop a comment to let us know which tech stocks you guys will be buying this week as well.
We have come to the end of this video and I hope I helped to clarify all your doubts. It will mean so much to the both of us if you leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Again, we really feel that the Fed can't keep up with this whole money printing fiasco forever, and the stock market is bound to have a backlash sooner or later. I have attached some links in the channels below which I took reference from, and also some links for you to do your further reading if you're interested in the topics listed. I will be flattered if you have one key takeaway from this video which you can share with your other friends. Leave any questions you have in the comments and I'll try my best to answer all of them thoroughly. Stay tuned for the next video and invest safe.